Have you heard of virgin oil? It takes 100 virgins to refine 1 kilogram, but just 3 drops can make any man utterly infatuated, falling desperately in love. The fullest moon shone on the 16th night of the lunar month. My coffin shop was open all night. I sat by the door, cracking sunflower seeds, when suddenly a bald, middle-aged man in a black suit approached. From a distance, I could already see the ominous dark energy around him, on the verge of spilling over. Oh heavens, I immediately shot up. A big spender, are we? Which is the best coffin in your shop? The best, of course, our gold-inlaid hardwood coffin, a friendly price of 5 million yuan apiece. My budget is 20,000, I'll take one. Just one, is that enough? I was slightly disappointed. I thought I'd hit a jackpot, but it turned out to be a cheapskate customer. Killing someone, yet unwilling to buy a decent coffin. The bald man looked at me with sinister eyes, flashing with murderous intent. I decided to ignore him, but the 2 ghosts trailing him stood 10 meters from my shop door, dripping blood, their presence filling my nose with a putrid stench. A sensitive sense of smell truly is a curse, and so I couldn't help but intervene. You died unjustly. A common coffin won't do. It won't suppress the murderous aura. What did you say? The bald man glared at me cautiously, his eyes secretly venomous. I'm merely selling coffins, you see. I noticed 2 young women following you, one with long hair, one with short. Ha ha, and so? He feigned indifference. He already knew. My heart sank. I spotted a glowing Bodhi bead bracelet on his wrist. Ah, no wonder he was so arrogant. He had a powerful master backing him. If you're still alive in 3 days, find me. Perhaps I can save you then. I smiled innocently, as if discussing dinner plans. The bald man looked at me furiously, about to lash out but suddenly paused, glancing behind him. He quickly scanned the payment code, gave me the coffin delivery address, and rushed away. The long-haired ghost flew after him. The short-haired ghost instantly appeared before me. Speak, I sat back down, resuming my sunflower seeds. That bastard is my uncle. I caught him in bed with my older sister. He killed me, sold my body to others, and drained my blood to refine virgin oil. She sobbed. I spat out the sunflower seed shell, feeling nauseous. Despite my familiarity with life and death, this method of killing still disgusted me profoundly. But from what I see, you're involved in quite a few deaths yourself. I waved my hand, and a black aura rose around the short-haired ghost. HMPH, trying to deceive me? Not even in your next life. The bald man and this ghost both had blood-stained hands. Ignoring the short-haired ghost's terrified screams, I trapped her in my gourd. Even hell would find such a thing despicable. It's best suited as fertilizer. The next morning, Bigfoot rushed in. Grandma, someone's burying explosives on Demon Mountain, saying it's for mining. Why didn't you just call? Oh, I forgot. Advanced science, centuries of development, and you, Bigfoot, haven't made any progress, I grumbled. Bigfoot was good at everything, except using his brain. Demon Mountain had existed for 1,000 years. It wasn't that no strangers entered it, but they were always cultivators seeking elixirs of immortality. All of them became part of Demon Mountain's flora, never to return. For decades, people believed in science, animals couldn't cultivate into spirits, and spiritual cultivation was almost extinct. Demon Mountain had become quiet, but today, this strange incident occurred. How could ordinary people find Demon Mountain? And burying explosives for mining? I chuckled. This reason was even more absurd than Chang fighting with An-chan. Bigfoot and I took a sip of water and arrived at the scene. A group of people were setting up a formation on the mountain. Bigfoot didn't understand, but I immediately knew what they intended. Although Demon Mountain had heavy yin energy, it was once an immortal herb mountain. They were at the foot of the mountain, burying dozens of urns filled with ashes, exuding dense murderous energy. They dug pits, placed rotting black dog carcasses inside, and then covered them up. Such familiar tactics. Were they trying to destroy the geomantic energy of Demon Mountain? Interesting, truly interesting. How long had it been since I encountered something this entertaining? Grandma, what do we do now? Shall I go kick their butts? Bigfoot eagerly raised his large foot. What's the rush? Just eat sunflower seeds and enjoy the show. I'm afraid I'm getting bored. I took out more sunflower seeds and began cracking them. Bigfoot shook his head. After centuries, he still hadn't learned how to crack sunflower seeds properly. It truly was amazing. When they dug the 30th pit, the group stumbled upon a nest of snakes. Watching them use shovels to chop hundreds of snakes into pieces, I burst out laughing. I wondered if they were truly ignorant or just pretending, daring to do anything. Bigfoot was also astonished. "Grandma, snakes hold grudges, don't they know that?" Apart from human life and death, I couldn't care less about these cold-blooded creatures. Seeing me grind my teeth, Bigfoot recalled how a snake demon had severely injured me 300 years ago, and he instantly recoiled, falling silent. At the same time, news of another missing girl made headlines. I scrolled through my phone, deep in thought, my heart filled with excitement. Perhaps this time I'd hit the jackpot, my merits might even double. So I instructed Bigfoot to keep an eye on those people and call me immediately if anything happened. I rushed back to the Coffin shop. I'll just wait for the rabbit to come. Jiangxia fished. Whoever was willing fell into his net. I was sure the bald man from last night couldn't wait 3 days. He would definitely return today. I waited until noon and ordered roasted chicken, but to my surprise, when I opened the container, it was a pot of blood mixed with chopped snakes. It gave me quite a fright. I knew it was Soo Ni-Yeon, the snake demon, who did this. She was blaming me for not saving the baby snakes. She was sulking with me. HMPH. When the bald man frantically ran in, I was still dumping out the snake pot. The ominous energy around him was even heavier. Even the scorching midday sun couldn't suppress it. His heart had already manifested evil aura. "The gold inlaid hardwood coffin," he gasped. "I'll buy it, please save me." "No, that was last night's price. Today you'll have to pay 3 times the price for a coffin. I'm a businesswoman, and I love to fish in troubled waters." The bald man's eyes widened into bullet shapes. He gritted his teeth and nodded in agreement. "He wants to kill me, the kind of killing you do once someone has no more value," I sneered. On the way to the bald man's house, Bigfoot messaged me. "Soo Ni-Yeon has arrived at Demon Mountain. She told me to find somewhere to hide for a few days." Damn it, that word avoid really grates on me. I feel insulted. "If you can't solve this, you'll have to refund me. You know the consequences of provoking me, right?" "There's nothing I can't solve, don't worry." Before entering the house, I was startled once more. Inside the gloomy and cold mansion, the bald man led me to the basement, which was covered in yellow talismans consecrated in temples for over a decade. Even so, I could still feel the dense evil aura, making my eyes sting. The basement's layout was also strange, a soul-sealing and murder-suppressing formation. This meant that anyone who died here had no path to reincarnation. No reincarnation meant no karma, and the culprits would escape punishment for all eternity. Even the living world and the underworld would be helpless. It was utterly vicious, insidious, and profound. Upon reaching the last room, I understood why such a powerful formation couldn't hold the 2 ghosts from last night. It was like the final drop overflowing a cup. There were simply too many souls here, so many that the formation couldn't contain them. If not tens of thousands, then thousands, right? Are you scared now? But you're skilled. At least you saw the clue. The bald man looked at me with satisfaction, probably because my expression wasn't looking too good at the moment. Merit wasn't important anymore. If I didn't solve this, I might even lose points. How should I put this? One could call this my karma, and so I had to conclude this case. If I dare to accept your money, I have the ability to spend it. Even now, you still don't intend to tell me the whole truth? I secretly turned on my voice recorder. Sometimes special methods are needed to gain fame. Money truly is the greatest thing. Haha. The bald man scoffed, then pulled back a large piece of fabric. The scent of lotus filled the room, and the murderous aura suddenly surged chaotically. Have you heard of virgin oil? It takes 100 virgins to refine 1 kilogram, but just 3 drops can make any man utterly infatuated. So this entire vat is virgin oil? I was astonished. This man was utterly cruel, his sins unpardonable even in 1,000 lifetimes. What, are you scared? Whether I'm scared or not is none of your business. What I care about is who set up this formation. Can you actually solve this? Why so many questions? I'm asking these questions precisely to solve your troubles. If you still don't tell the truth, if you don't believe me, then try to see if you'll see the sun tomorrow. I'm not threatening you. This formation is about to break. The bald man looked at me hesitantly, weighing the pros and cons. The true mastermind's identity wasn't simple. So many missing girls, such a large number. Without a powerful protector, the bald man certainly wouldn't have been able to conceal it. At least show me what you're capable of. Another one who underestimates women. I took out my gourd and absorbed some of the murderous aura. This was as easy as pie. It's like a broken faucet. Continually trying to absorb overflowing water is useless. As the murderous aura diminished, the lights in the room brightened significantly. The bald man seemed excited. Perhaps I wasn't the first to arrive, but I was the only one with any ability. Finally, I met the real villain, but it was truly unexpected. She's a public figure, how could I not know her? Soo Ni-Yeon, the recently awarded Best Actress. Her upcoming films are all blockbusters, with her in the leading role. Since she entered the industry, her resources have been unbelievably good, and her popularity has skyrocketed relentlessly. Her image is that of a sweet, adorable girl. I observed her fortune. Good luck enveloped her head, and her facial features suggested abundant blessings, wealth, and longevity. But looking closer, 3 meters around her was nothing but murderous aura, yet it couldn't get close. This was truly bizarre. The only explanation was a powerful master always protecting her, someone very formidable with a high level of cultivation. If you can solve this danger, I'll agree to anything, Soo Ni-Yeon said in a soft tone, while the bald man looked at me with disdain. Right, currently I'm playing the role of a greedy fortune seeker. The eye of this formation uses your blood as a guide, doesn't it? I looked at the black mist in the middle of the room, pretending to divine with a compass, putting on a mystical act. Soo Ni-Yeon and the bald man looked at me in astonishment, filled with respect. They hadn't expected me to know the eye of the formation. It is indeed my blood. Then pour a bowl of your blood for me. Soo Ni-Yeon watched me offer her an empty bowl, neither too big nor too small, about the size of an apple. She immediately slashed her palm with a knife, letting her blood flow into the bowl. I gritted my teeth, irritation bubbling inside me. This girl's blood had even turned black. Her heart must be even darker. Soon, she realized something was wrong. Her blood flowed endlessly, yet the bowl remained unfilled, like a sponge absorbing it all. Outside the mansion, a whirlwind raged, and dark clouds swirled. Soo Ni-Yeon's blood spread through the room like a network of veins. The cries of the girls made my ears ring. How many wronged souls had died here in agony? I took out another gourd, chanting a reincarnation mantra to lure the souls into it. Soo Ni-Yeon stiffened, struggling as if she couldn't move. The bald man had long since fainted from the overwhelming murderous aura. An hour passed, and most of the souls had been sent to the afterlife, but 3 girls stubbornly refused to enter the gourd. Their resentment was thick, reaching the heavens, and Soo Ni-Yeon's blood was almost completely drained. I couldn't let her die now. That would be too easy for her. Reluctantly, I retracted the gourd, carrying the souls of the 3 girls out of the secret room. Sitting on a cloud, I wanted to see who would be the first to come to Soo Ni-Yeon's rescue. After waiting for a long time and getting bored, I started cracking sunflower seeds. I turned to look at the 3 bloody female ghosts behind me. I waved my hand, cleansing all the blood and dark aura from them. Only then did the 3 ghosts reveal their true appearance. They were all beautiful girls in their 20s. That's better, you were quite unsightly before. What are your names? How did you die? I am Ji-Hoon. My blood was completely drained and my corpse was buried in a latrine pit. I don't know what else they did. Since my death, my entire body has been in unbearable pain. My blood was drained. What is your relationship with Soo Ni-Yeon? I didn't know her before. I used to be a model. My manager said he was taking me to meet an A-list star. I was forced to drink a lot of alcohol at that party, and when I woke up, I was already dead. I looked at Ji-Hoon with 2 streaks of bloody tears on her face. I also smelled sodium chloride on her body, and I had already guessed part of the truth. The only thing that made me suspicious was why Soo Ni-Yeon and her accomplices had drained all her blood. And how did you die? I am Ha-Ri-jin. The face Soo Ni-Yeon is currently using is mine. Oh, a face swap. I was shocked. My sunflower seeds cracked loudly. Oh my God, this is too horrible, too exciting. Not only was my face stolen, but my family's good fortune was also plundered by her. Everything she has now should have been mine. I looked at Ha Rai-jin's terrifying face. It was truly gruesome. Looking closely, it was indeed not an ordinary face destined for a short life. I provisionally believed this girl's words. I hadn't even had time to ask the third girl when people swarmed the mansion's exterior. A series of bodyguards in suits, over a dozen of them, surrounded a scrawny old man getting out of a car. The old man stood outside the mansion, his face grim, his features like a rat's file and malicious. What kind of species is this? I sat up straight. The three female ghosts behind me trembled with extreme fear. Don't be afraid, all three of you. I will avenge you. With me here, you will safely reincarnate. I rarely comforted them with such patience, but only because they had died unjustly and I felt compassion. After all, I had lived for nearly 1,000 years, seen much and known much. To say my heart was made of stone would be an exaggeration, but at least I wasn't easily swayed. Ah, not a person, but a fallen immortal in exile, that's more accurate. His name is Ji-Hoon, the one behind Soo Ni-Yeon. Oh, this one's interesting. Neither ghost nor human. All three of you, hide in here. We wouldn't want you to get hurt or vanish into thin air if a fight breaks out. I took out the gourd again for the three female ghosts to hide in. After finishing the sunflower seeds in my hand, I jumped down from the cloud. Ji-Hoon was setting up a formation outside the mansion, life energy dissipating while evil aura surrounded him. In his current physical state, he dared not enter the mansion. No wonder the soul-sealing formation in the basement was so tattered, and no one came to fix it. Locking the stable door after the horse has bolted, do you think it's still effective? When I stood before Ji-Hoon, I immediately caught the distinctive stench of rats on him. Do you eat rats? I pinched my nose and stepped back, my stomach churning. You're the one playing tricks. Ji-Hoon heard me and lost a bit of his composure, struggling to maintain his dignity, looking at me with full vigilance. You're a human, eating rats. Can you even digest that? That was a rat that had cultivated into a spirit. It wanted to make a contract with me, and it was the one who broke its promise first. Oh, so this is why you harmed so many girls. You're not looking out for yourself, and heaven and earth will destroy you. Everything I do is in accordance with the way of heaven. Those girls encountering me was their destiny. I'm tired of talking to you. You choose. Should I beat you half to death and then throw you into my gourd, or will you obediently enter yourself? I was annoyed and pulled out my gourd again, thinking to myself that the short-haired ghost must have already turned into fertilizer by now. I know who you are, just a fallen immortal. If you know what's good for you, go back to Demon Mountain and be your mountain deity. Don't meddle in other people's affairs. If you already know who I am, then you should also know that for 1,000 years, I've always punished evil, only done good deeds, and accumulated merit. You're just a rat spirit not worth a penny, and you dare to talk down to me. If I'm unhappy, the consequences will be very severe. HMPH, but I'm not a real rat spirit, so are you sure you can trap me in your gourd? Ha ha! His piercing laughter resonated, utterly annoying. I pulled out my phone and dialed 110. Take that, you arrogant fool. Hello, police. I want to report a serial missing persons case involving young women. I've caught the culprit. The address is Moonlight Villa, Block B. Seeing me call the police, Ji-Hoon's face changed color. His subordinates also panicked, looking as if they wanted to flee. Faced with these humans, I couldn't trap them in my gourd, but I had hundreds of ways to restrain them and prevent their escape. When the police rushed in, I was calmly cracking sunflower seeds. Ji-Hoon and his subordinates were tied up like rice dumplings. I shook the remote bomb detonator in my hand and handed it to the police. They needed to disarm all the bombs in the mansion first. Ji-Hoon glared at me. Slap. I immediately delivered a slap. He didn't even consider his current situation, daring to glare. My anger hadn't settled yet after the fight. The chief inspector stared at me in shock, then at the criminals, hesitantly pulling me aside. Very quickly, many female corpses were unearthed from the mansion. Soo Ni-Yeon, still unconscious, and the bald man were carried out. Everyone was surprised. They assumed Soo Ni-Yeon was also a victim, so she was taken to an ambulance for special care. This Soo Ni-Yeon is the mastermind, I said coldly, cracking a sunflower seed. I transformed myself into a rescue dog, directing the criminal police to dig through the mansion. The backyard garden was full of corpses. Inside the mansion walls, there were even 2 specialized morgues. Corpses were everywhere, and the number was horrifyingly large. There were also foreign girls from various countries, with different skin colors, all in their late teens and early 20s. The secret room in the basement was too eerie. The police went in and out multiple times, everyone feeling dizzy and nauseous. Reluctantly, I had to go in and clean it up myself. I secretly collected the virgin oil from the vat into my gourd. I believed it would be better for me to handle this horrible stuff. If it were to spread, who knows what kind of turmoil it would cause. This virgin oil indeed had strange effects. Soo Ni-Yeon had used this countless times to make innocent girls fall for her, to get into bed with countless old men. Driven by ambition and a desire for fame, she was obsessed with it. Just 3 drops could restore her virginity, make men infatuated with her, unwilling to leave her side, and obey her every word. Soo Ni-Yeon not only used it herself, but also sold it on the dark web. Even amongst female celebrities, it was secretly being used. This was the most disgusting thing. I handed over the audio recording of my conversation with Soo Ni-Yeon to the police. The crimes of the living were for the police, and the souls of the dead were for me to judge very fair and reasonable. If the interrogation doesn't go smoothly or something strange happens, come find me at the Yi-Shui Road Coffin shop. I can help you. At the police station until late at night, after giving my statement, I deliberately advised Chief Inspector Sun before leaving. Though I was joking, Chief Sun's face was solemn. He, who always advocated for science, had his perceptions completely overturned by this case. He knew that he might truly need my help. When I returned to the coffin shop, Bigfoot called. I looked at the clock, it was 3:30 a.m. Grandma, Thai Nuong is injured, come back quickly. Are you kidding me? Who could injure her? It's true, Grandma. They deliberately set a trap to lure Thai Nuong out. I don't know what they sprayed. Thai Nuong smelled it and immediately fainted, then they beat her severely. I was a step too late and they almost got her snake gall. Bigfoot cried as he spoke. I was startled, realizing Bigfoot wouldn't joke about such things. Without even packing, I quickly jumped onto a cloud and flew back to Demon Mountain. Although I wasn't fond of Thai Nuong, she was still the snake demon of Demon Mountain. As the mountain deity, bullying her was like slapping my own face. Upon arrival, I found them still staking out the foot of the mountain. I sniffed carefully. There was a smell of yin-breaking water in the air. Besides the murderous aura and yin-breaking water, there was also the distinct smell of tobacco oil. No wonder Thai Nuong fainted. These were all things snakes feared. Logically, Thai Nuong's cultivation wasn't low. These things shouldn't have been enough to make her pass out. I sniffed more carefully, and there was also the smell of ash from beast-controlling talismans. The more I investigated, the more astonished I became. These people had burned tens of thousands of beast-controlling talismans. How should I put it? Being pricked by a toothpick hurts, but it's not dangerous. But if tens of thousands of toothpicks attack you, can you withstand it? Similarly, Thai Nuong collapsed because of this. Upon reaching Thai Nuong's cave dwelling, I smelled a dense stench of blood right at the entrance. I frowned and entered. Bigfoot's eyes were red from crying. Thai Nuong had revealed her snake tail, about to transform into her true form. I pulled out my gourd specialized in making fertilizer, poured its contents out, mixed it with water, and then lifted Thai Nuong's head and poured it in. At the same time, Chief Inspector Sun's call came in, faster than I expected. Madam Coffin, I need your help. Are you free to come over now, or should I pick you up? He was calling me Madam now. It seemed things were truly complicated. But Thai Nuong is seriously injured right now. I can't leave immediately. Get out. If you let them hurt me again, I'll take your last name from now on. Haha, exactly my intention. I instantly took off. Bigfoot behind me wanted to say something but held back. Seriously, if Thai Nuong wanted to kill, who could stand against her? Bigfoot was still too naive. At the police station, Chief Inspector Sun waited at the door with a serious expression. 3 police officers who interrogated one Ji-Hoon consecutively had become mentally unstable. The last one even almost secretly released the prisoner. I pulled a snake scale from my pocket, which I had just stolen from Thai Nuong's cave dwelling, and instructed Chief Sun to boil water, add the scale, and have the 3 officers drink it to recover. As for one Ji-Hoon, I would handle him myself. In the interrogation room, handcuffed and shackled, one Ji-Hoon defiantly squeaked like a rat. Seeing me enter, he scoffed provocatively. "Continue the interrogation." The chief inspector calmed himself. Seeing me there, he seemed much more at ease. One Ji-Hoon refused to say a word. I softly chanted a snake charm, and he immediately glared at me, then unwittingly confessed all his crimes over the years. Rats fear snakes, after all. My. Chief Inspector Sun occasionally turned to look at me. Besides being thirsty and drinking water continuously, I persevered in chanting for several hours. Heavens, my throat was almost smoking. Finally, one Ji-Hoon confessed to all his crimes, enough to condemn him several times over. Besides helping Soo Ni-Yeon refine virgin oil, he was also involved in human trafficking, face swapping for fate alteration, and hunting various demons and monsters, eating their flesh for longevity. One Ji-Hoon looked only in his 50s, but he was actually over 150 years old. Chief Sun's face was very grim. He didn't want to believe, but he had to. Soo Ni-Yeon was put in detention and admitted to all her wrongdoings. To avoid public panic, the police only announced her involvement in kidnapping and murder cases. The other things were too mystical for them to reveal. However, rumors still circulated online that Soo Ni-Yeon had swapped faces with Ha Rai-jin and disturbed the ancestral graves of the Ha family. The brilliant life that rightfully belonged to Ha Rai-jin had become Soo Ni-Yeon's. Lee and-An's identity was also clarified. She was Soo Ni-Yeon's paternal half-sister. This resolved the mystery of why Lee and-An's blood was completely drained. The soul-sealing formation had actually been reinforced a long time ago. Soo Ni-Yeon didn't want to use too much of her own blood, so she used the blood of her blood-related sister. Lee and-An's death occurred at an inauspicious hour, filled with immense resentment, making her prone to becoming a vengeful ghost. Soo Ni-Yeon feared retaliation. One Ji-Hoon skinned Lee and-An, threw her flesh into a latrine pit, and meticulously preserved her vital organs in a vat of salt. Lee and-An couldn't even dream of revenge, let alone reincarnation. Lee and-An said she always felt pain throughout her body. I now knew the specific reason. Initially, I only smelled sodium chloride. I hadn't expected them to be so cruel as to pickle this girl's body in chilly water. But Lee and-An didn't even know she had an older sister, dying in such confusion. Actually, this case wasn't complicated. Soo Ni-Yeon, one Ji-Hoon, the bald man, and several other criminals quickly received their sentences. The death penalty was a certainty. The day of execution was also the day I awaited. After their deaths, the souls of Soo Ni-Yeon, the bald man, and their accomplices were all collected into my gourd. One Ji-Hoon was different. He was half human, half demon. Human methods couldn't kill him completely. I needed to give him a hand. Humans killed half, I killed the other half, secretly of course. After one Ji-Hoon's soul was completely subdued by me, Chief Sun invited me to work with them. Because this case had shaken public opinion, more and more people came to my coffin shop, and I made a fortune. My merits also skyrocketed. Chief Sun asked me to register with the police, as he was also afraid that a second one Ji-Hoon would appear. At the same time, I was also listed as a temporary employee of the Public Security Bureau. If similar cases occurred in the future, they hoped I could assist. Of course, I gladly agreed. How could I refuse such a good offer? The case concluded, but the three ghosts of Lee and-An refused to reincarnate. Another girl named Linya, whose birth chart perfectly matched one Ji-Hoon's, had been imprisoned by him and forced to bear 3 children. The babies, as soon as they were born, were taken away by one Ji-Hoon, used as catalysts for his cultivation, and then eaten. Each death was more horrific than the last, and the resentment grew accordingly. Chanting the reincarnation mantra hundreds of times had no effect. Reluctantly, I released the souls of one Ji-Hoon and Soo Ni-Yeon. The 3 Lee and-Ans immediately surged forward, tearing apart and devouring the souls of those 2 villains, eating them piece by piece, as this was the only way to vent their hatred. Watching the dark aura around Lee and-An gradually dissipate, I sat down and chanted the reincarnation mantra again. The 3 girls held hands and stepped into a golden halo, entering my gourd. May you live better, happier lives in your next existence. At the same time, the wife of a top city entrepreneur became pregnant, and the doctor's ultrasound revealed a ghost baby. I cracked a sunflower seed, feeling satisfied. How should I put it? A sense of accomplishment filled me. Although I couldn't use Soo Ni-Yeon's soul to make top-grade fertilizer, persuading people to reincarnate was more meaningful, wasn't it? Bigfoot told me that Thai Nuong had buried one Ji-Hoon's son. I was a bit stunned. One Ji-Hoon had a son? A wicked and immoral man like him had a child. An adopted child is still a child, isn't he? If you say so, then so be it. His son was the one who destroyed the snake nest on Demon Mountain earlier. That bastard intended to capture Thai Nuong alive and offer her to one Ji-Hoon to eat. Tusk, quite audacious, daring to think of Thai Nuong without considering his own cultivation level. Grandma, guess why that bastard dared to do that? Why? Do you remember a few years ago when Thai Nuong said she wanted to repay a kindness by becoming someone's wife? Oh, how could I forget that? So this is that person's son? That's why he knows Demon Mountain so well, even concocting a scheme to capture Thai Nuong. Talking behind his back, how annoying. Thai Nuong, with her human head and snake body, flew over and sat cross-legged beside me. For some reason, even though she was smiling, I felt a deep sadness. Madam Fan Yin, how much longer do you think it will be until we atone for all our sins? I don't want to stay on Demon Mountain for another day. I looked down at the merit in my palm. It had increased quite a bit recently, but to escape my sins, it would take at least a few hundred more years. Thai Nuong was no different. Like me, she could only wait to leave this place. Isn't Demon Mountain good? Besides me, you're the biggest here. What are you saying? Even with you, I'm still the biggest. Don't be so self-important. I gritted my teeth. It was crazy to try and comfort her. Did she need my comfort? Truly a mad snake. Grandma, what exactly did you and Thai Nuong do to commit such sins? Bigfoot watched Thai Nuong wave her tail and fly away, then grew curious again. I slapped him on the back of his head, suppressing him with force. Ask again, and I'll hit you again. What sins did we commit? Perhaps it was the battle 1,000 years ago. Our master went on a rampage slaughtering humans. The entire sect was enchanted by our master. The unarmed humans in our eyes were blood-mouthed demons. We killed until we were delirious, and our master, up in the clouds, laughed maniacally. He had fallen into evil long ago. At that time, I was still young, having just achieved immortality, but I was also full of zeal, charging onto the battlefield. Back then, I only thought that if they were demons, they deserved to die. Bigfoot was different. He was an abandoned child on Demon Mountain. Thai Nuong found him barely clinging to life, surviving amidst the wilderness filled with spiritual energy. She raised him naturally, and unexpectedly, he grew this big. I took him down the mountain, wanting him to live a normal life, sending him to school for a few years. But this brat refused to attend school normally. It was also because Thai Nuong and I would fight without hiding it from him. He secretly learned many minor techniques and often caused trouble at school, never admitting he was wrong. A few times, he almost caused fatalities. Since he was a child I raised from a young age, I feared he would cause a great disaster that I would regret. Reluctantly, I had no choice but to bring him back to Demon Mountain. The vast mountain was his paradise of freedom. He often went to the scripture library to read. He self-taught and became proficient in many techniques. I was surprised, and at the same time, I suddenly understood. Perhaps this was destiny. Bigfoot, Thai Nuong, and I all shared this karmic connection, so I decided to let nature take its course. I sat in the Coffin shop, cracking sunflower seeds, my heart also filled with resentment. Currently, I also want to leave this place. There was a time when I missed the days of cultivating with my senior and junior brothers on Demon Mountain, but now it is only a place piled high with sins. Our master was cut down, and the others, though enchanted, also committed unforgivable crimes. Blood flowed like rivers, corpses piled up like mountains, all our work. First senior brother disemboweled himself and gouged out his heart, atoning for his sins before leaving. How could a noble person like him bear to have his hands stained with innocent blood? The remaining ones surrendered themselves. Demon Mountain is our prison. Only when we atone for all our sins can we leave. Second senior brother died 3 years later. He believed his sins were unpardonable and decided to follow first senior brother. He used his body as a shield, personally adding another layer of confinement to Demon Mountain, which then became filled with poisonous and yin energy. Thai Nuong was originally our master's pet. She didn't cultivate an immortal body, so she remained a demon. Aside from this hot essence, she's still a good demon. I am third senior sister. Fourth junior brother left Demon Mountain a few months ago, his merits complete. Where did he go? I don't know. He said to wait for me to find him. So I became the last fallen immortal of Demon Mountain. To put it nicely, I'm the mountain deity. To put it badly, I'm nothing. Another fullest moon on the 16th night, and the Coffin shop was open all night. A Rolls-Royce parked outside, and a woman in a hat and tightly fitting mask entered. A faint scent of lotus lingered. I crossed my legs, looking at her, unable to hide my smugness. Another VIP customer. You are the legendary half-immortal, aren't you? Half-immortal? Why half-immortal? What can I do for you? Please speak. The woman walked freely into the shop. Her driver closed the door. 5 million, I want you to help me. Looking at the check in front of me, I smiled, but it wasn't enough. The Southwest region is about to have a major earthquake. I need to prepare too much. 5 million isn't enough. How can you help? What difficulties do you have? Please be clear. I also used virgin oil. Now I have nightmares every night and my intimate area is severely necrotized. Hospitals can't cure it. It's not just your intimate area, is it? Sometimes your body also smells of death, right? Your hair is almost all gone too. You're wearing a wig now, aren't you? I said bluntly. The woman opposite me was astonished and filled with hope. She thought she had found the right person, that I could help her, but it also depended on whether I wanted to. You're completely right, can you? Can you help me? More money, you have to add more money. Don't joke around, name your price. 50 million, no less, darling. The woman fell silent, her eyes looking at me as if laced with poison, mixed with a hint of disdain. What, am I supposed to treat you for free? This 5 million is a deposit. If you see results, I'll pay the rest. Payment in full, no debts. If you want treatment, get treated. If not, the door's over there. Don't disrupt my business. Saying so, I stepped past her and opened the door. Tonight, she wasn't the only one trying to hinder my business. Who did she think she was? The woman reluctantly stepped out, letting out a cold huff as she passed. I huffed back. So arrogant now, she'd come back to find me sooner or later. As her car left, another luxury car pulled up. Again, it was a celebrity, heavily masked. They thought covering their faces meant I wouldn't know who they were, truly amusing. As soon as the celebrity stood still, I spoke indifferently. 50 million, fixed price. No bargaining, no credit. If you want treatment, get treated. If not, leave quickly. You know what I mean. Isn't it because you used virgin oil and are now suffering its backlash? The celebrity took a deep breath, took out a check, wrote 50 million on it, and offered it to me with both hands. Excuse me, Madam Half-Immortal. Now that's the attitude for asking for help. You also know how virgin oil is refined, how many wronged souls are entangled in it. Curing it easily is impossible. Then what should I do? My words made the other person's face turn ashen. Prepare the items on this list, then message me, and I'll come. The celebrity looked at the paper, her face growing paler, but she said nothing, politely bidding farewell and leaving me her phone number. 1,000 maggots, 1 kg of flies, 2 liters of fecal water, a mouthful of saliva from the families of the deceased girls. Bigfoot looked at my list, foolishly asking, "Will it really work?" I rolled my eyes, only telling him to wait and see. When dawn broke, I tiredly lay down in bed. Entertaining customers all night was truly exhausting. Shaking the stack of checks in my hand, I was quite pleased. I instructed Bigfoot to buy supplies and prepare for the Southwest earthquake. Natural disasters, illnesses, old age, death, I cannot interfere with these. I can only help them as much as possible after the calamity. I cannot leave Demon Mountain. Although I am the mountain deity, my range of activity is limited to 100 kilometers around the mountain. One step further, and I will vanish into thin air. Bigfoot was accustomed to being busy. I probably wouldn't see him for the next few months. The other things were easy, but a mouthful of saliva from the victims' families would certainly be difficult to collect. Even if I had enough, I couldn't cure it at the root. Otherwise, what meaning would the deaths of those girls have? 50 million yuan was only to help those crazy celebrities atone for their sins. Winter turned to summer. Year after year, I lived like this. Being a coffin shop owner was enough, or perhaps I should change professions? No, I'll decide after I wake up. If your heart is still beating calmly after this story, please subscribe to Chillify to discover more mysteries. Each night, a shiver.